We are live. Hi, everyone. We are live.
Hi.
We're pretty sure we're live anyway. I'm Dr. Sherry, and this is Erin Harrigan, and we are the proverbial masterminds. That's right. We come to you every Friday to share what we've been reading in the book of Proverbs, one verse a day, and so
Ah,
7 verses to cover today. How you doing?
Oh my. It's invoking the master's wisdom.
We had a
Oh
little
my goodness.
technological snafu before. That's why we are on here 5-6 minutes late.
Here we are. But we are here and we are in Proverbs 8.
Mm-hmm. We
8,
are 14 through
20, 21,
19.
1, 2,
1, 2,
3,
3.
4, 5, 6, 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reading from a different version.
Ooh, what version today?
Well, no, okay.
Oh.
So I'm reading right now, this moment, from a different version than I read the whole week.
Oh, got it.
So I couldn't tell where I left off
Ah,
in this version.
understand. Understand. Okay. Where do you want to start? Do you want to read?
Yeah, sure.
Read from your version, whatever version you're in.
I'm in New King James. I have
Ooh.
two go-tos. I have New King James and New Living Translation. I really like the New King James. For most, I would say 90% I enjoy it, but 10% of the time I like other translations as well.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's good to just, I feel like it provides extra color to what not that it adds information. That's not what I mean, but I feel like it allows us to understand even deeper.
Well, I feel like it's more direct.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. There are no these and thous and thithers,
Right.
but it is more direct. Okay. So I'm going to be reading. We are in chapter 8 of the book of Proverbs, and I'm going to be reading from verses 14 through 21. So if you are at home and you're following along, follow along in your translation.
Follow.
Follow. Okay, I'm sorry. 2 things. One, before we start. So I was listening to 80s on 8 today when I was on the way back from the grocery store.
Favorite channel.
Favorite channel. And just age me, whatever. I don't care. So, anyway, two like really fun songs came on. One was, and I'm sure we'll find a way to incorporate these. One was I Can't Go For That, right? By Hall and Oates. I can't go for that. No, oh, no can do. So I think that's gonna come up in today's conversation.
Yes.
And then the other one, what was the other one? It was Footloose by Kenny
Oh,
Loggins.
yes.
Yeah, so I was like grooving out in my car with like pictures of Kevin Bacon in my head. It was really funny. Anyway, okay. So now we're back to scripture. All right. Counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength.
Mm.
By me, kings reign. Okay, let me back up and I'm going to restart this. This is wisdom speaking. Okay, this is what wisdom is saying. Counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. By me, kings reign and rulers decree justice. By me, princes rule and nobles, all the judges of the earth. I love those who love me, and those who seek me diligently will find me. Riches and honor are with me, enduring riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yes, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. I traverse the way of righteousness in the midst of the paths of justice, that I may cause those who love me to inherit wealth, that I may fill their treasuries.
Quite an interesting combination there.
You like that translation?
I do like that translation. I was following along. I'm in the English Standard Version today, and it's not so different. I think it's intriguing how Solomon is connecting this voice of wisdom to royalty. Royalty listens, and that because of the wisdom that they, that wisdom is enduring wealth and righteousness, and that those who love wisdom, wisdom grants an inheritance and fills their treasuries. Interesting.
Yeah. So I like that connection too. Wisdom and royalty.
Mhm. Yeah.
And, that's relevant to some things that are going on today. Now, I'm going to take a total side leap here, like a side lunge. Like we're working out and I'm going way to the side right now. Okay. We'll bring it back center in just a second. But I had this picture. You know how there's this underlying belief or assumption that everybody is supposed to have the same, which we're not. Like if we were all royalty, then who would serve us? If we were if we were all servants, who would we serve? Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so this is what came to mind for me. Like thinking about royalty and wisdom. I think that mistaken assumption that we're all supposed to have the same thing, then what we do is we look at other people's success and we equate that to luck. Or they were born, with all of the resources and all of the help. But then you look at people like Elon Musk who work whatever, 80 to 100 hours a week. There's no sitting on their laurels, collecting the riches, right? Like and this is the majority. I mean, people who don't work for what they have or don't exercise a gift that they've been given for what they have are the extraordinary exception. So then I look at, but then I look at how hated they are, how despised they are. And I'm looking at this picture of wisdom and I'm like, so then do we despise wisdom? If wisdom brings success and treasures, do we despise wisdom? So I had this picture of, I was going to create this meme of like, people hate Jeff Bezos for whatever reason, because he started an incredible company out of his garage in the mid 90s, out of his garage, was not born with a silver spoon in his mouth. But the same people that hate him are the people that have a bunch of Amazon packages on their doorstep. Like this, this is wisdom. Like empires, and Amazon is clearly an empire, right? Empires are built on wisdom. I mean, if you look at by me, kings reign and rulers decree justice by me, princes rule and nobles and all the judges. This is not just talking about, sorry, I'm contorted there. I have an itch. This is not just talking about, princes and sheiks and stuff like that. This is talking about people who are in power, who have been given a position of authority because they offer something to us. And through the wisdom that creates that is the wisdom that serves us. I love having my stuff here in 2 days.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my little segue to that I think a lot, what we see as successful, if we're to listen to this, is wisdom, is not luck. It's wisdom.
I agree. Yeah. I do think that not everybody that's in a position that can influence is wise.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah.
But the wisdom, and correct me if I'm wrong, but wisdom is presented to anybody who is looking for it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is what we've been reading and listening to.
Right. And we have moments where we can hear it. It's crying aloud in the street and we ignore it.
Yes.
So that is not different for people who are in positions of influence versus somebody like me who's not in a position of influence, just, living in South Central Pennsylvania by the cornfield,
Right.
like,
right.
But I can ignore wisdom just like that guy. But
yes.
let's break this down a little bit Because it just made me think of a conversation I had the other day with somebody, and we're talking about taxes. Like a company said, well, if you pay in cash, then it'll be this much. But if you pay with a check to the company, it'll be this much. Well, there's a reason for that, right? Because if you pay somebody in cash and they decide not to report that as income, they don't have to because there's no record of it. Okay. People think that only wealthy people don't exercise wisdom, but that is all the way down to the very local small business owner level,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So my point with this is that you let Jeff Bezos worry about Jeff Bezos, you let whoever worry about herself. This is talking to us. Are we going to choose wisdom for ourselves? But we're in a society right now that's so busy pointing fingers and looking at everybody else while we're doing the same things that we say we despise and hate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this brings me to the verse that stuck out for me, which is, I love those who love me. And those who seek me diligently will find me. When I looked up that word love, it talks about it's the same kind of love biblically throughout the Bible for familial love, sexual love, friendship love. It's all kind of like the human love, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I love those who love me. And one of the definitions of that Hebrew word was appetite for. So those who have an appetite for me, I will have an appetite for them. And what that tells me, this is like really good news. What that tells me is that the more I'm pursuing wisdom, the more wisdom is going to be in my face, showing up to me.
Yes.
Right? And the more I refuse wisdom, the less it's going to be apparent to me.
Mm-hmm.
So in my life, when I'm getting those glimpses of wisdom, am I creating or building my appetite for that by saying, yes, okay, that's good, show me more? Or am I tamping my appetite for that by saying, yeah, that works for somebody else, but not for me?
I like that. I like the diligent part as well, because I think we take for granted that it's there. So, I mean, like what we're doing in reading through this and then talking about it on Fridays and bringing it forward is diligent pursuit of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And obviously, some days were probably better than others, but I think that we take for granted, well, I don't have my Bible because I'm at a different office, but I think we take for granted that the word is there and the word is living and active and it's meant for us to pursue it and to be in it. And that the more that we are learning it and understanding it, the more that we're seeking that, the more it's illuminated, the more we can see it in our everyday life, right? The more we can see the Lord's promises, the more we can see him moving. And so I think it's the same way, that it's the pursuit of it diligently, because, here we are talking about Solomon and, David the same, like these are men who had wisdom, but, later on, they weren't probably as diligent with the wisdom and, got into trouble, right? And so I think obviously that's a human condition. So we all have that. So I think it's the pursuit of it, the desire and the appetite for it. I love that translation of it that you found, because it is, we seek so much to quench a thirst or a hunger that we have. And wisdom is there. Wisdom is waiting. Wisdom is standing in the square, waiting for us. But what's interesting about it versus other sort of worldly things that we could have an appetite for, that we could chase, wisdom never runs from us.
Right. Wisdom runs to us.
And wisdom is waiting with open arms for us, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. So now let's look at the concept of this. When we look at people who have a lot of money, we look at the money. because, and here's why I think we look at that. And I say I don't, because I don't care how much money somebody else has. I don't have to answer for them. I don't have to answer for what they do. It's just not up to me. I got to answer for me. So anyway, but when we look at money, what that tells me is that my appetite is for money. My appetite isn't for wisdom. So if I'm looking at the fruit, what I see the fruit for that person and their success, then that's what's motivating me. That's why that gets all up in me, gets me all up in a tizzy, because my pursuit is money. So if my pursuit is money and you have it and I don't, or I perceive I don't, or whatever, that tells me that the focus is wrong. Because if you look here, it says riches and honor are with me, enduring riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold. It's better than silver. So the fruit that we're looking at when we have these feelings and we have these frustrations, and sometimes as believers, we have these frustrations like, I'm a good daughter of yours, Lord, and I do things right. And why are these wicked people prospering? Why? Because we're pursuing a fruit that's better than the fruit that we can see. That's what I got. You are muted.
Sorry. Because on my phone, I can't do side by side. So whichever one of us is talking is the one that's showing up on the YouTube screen.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be muted while you're talking. So what's coming up for me as you say that is the idea of coveting.
Mm-hmm.
And, that which we covet. And so I do think that as humans, as business owners, as people, we do get into these places where we're like, well, why are they prospering when they're not following Jesus? And why do they have so much success when they're not following Jesus? And yet I'm following, Lord. Okay, well, first of all, what are you following if you're making those comments? I'm right there. I mean, I'm just raising my hand. I'm not saying that, I don't do that. But I think that it's those opportunities for us to step back and go, hold on, hold it. Like wisdom says it's here. Mm-hmm. Wisdom is right in front of us. And the fruit of wisdom is better than all of that, mm-hmm. that we look around. But I think because the world is so loud and so flashy and so sparkly, that it's hard for us to step back sometimes and say, hold on. The fruit with wisdom is better. Like, I know this is greater eternal fruit. This isn't temporal fruit. This isn't mm-hmm. fruit that's going to go away when the world ends, Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that this is just a question for us of what do we love? What do we have an appetite for? Do we have an appetite for things that we see in the world that we think would somehow make us magically happy right now? I don't want to be and never want to be a billionaire. It's too much money. Maybe $1 million. That's it. $1 million. $1 million. Other than that, no, thank you. I never, no, I don't want anything to do with that, because as the notorious B.I.G. said, more money, more problems. Because that type of fruit is not the best fruit. It rots, and it rots in a lot of ways, not because it's inherently bad, but because we have an appetite for it, and it's not eternal. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think for me, and I've been really working through some of this lately, is like we have faith in the Lord's promises, right? But the action of faith is trust. Do we trust? Do we trust to do the work regardless of the outcome? Do we mm-hmm. trust to serve the people regardless of the outcome? Do we truly believe that the mm-hmm. Lord provides? Like, do we really believe that he provides all that we need? Not what we think we need, but what he knows we need. Which, by the way, one of those things is wisdom, that he knows that we need. Right?
Well, Ecclesiastes, wisdom and money will get you a lot of things, but only wisdom will save your life.
Right.
right? Only wisdom will save your life.
Yeah.
So I believe that I believe that it is the rare person who fully relies upon God every day in their life to be their provider.
100%. I
Because we
totally
take
agree.
it back every minute. No, I have to do this because I have to provide for myself. Nope. Like, I feel like I'm in front of like a automatic punching arm every day. Like, well, I have to do this because if I don't, nope. That right? Like God is my provider and not our spouse, not our jobs. And so that's the other thing. I think when we look at other people and we see their success, do we not also acknowledge that God has allowed them to have that?
Yes.
Right? Like God is the ultimate decider
That's right.
of what you have and what you don't have.
Yes.
So did God get it wrong? Because you're
No, well,
not
he can't get
Jeff
it wrong.
Bezos.
Right.
I don't know
Well,
why I keep
right.
bringing him
I
up,
don't know.
but
I don't know either. No, I mean, clearly he doesn't get it wrong. And I think that we do have to remember that he allows that. And in the end, not to be morbid, but in the end, is it going to matter that someone had all of that if at the end of their life, they weren't saved and they weren't going to heaven
Mhm.
and they weren't going to be with the Lord? You know what I mean? And I think it's hard to think about that.
well, but the other thing is we're not privy to that.
No, we're not.
So we make all of these little assumptions, and my entire pursuit of wisdom is not for me to obtain and understand, have wisdom about other people. It's for me to understand myself
Yes.
and my tendencies. And if we could just really have an appetite for wisdom for ourselves and not I would be a rich, speaking of money, I'd be a monetarily rich woman if I had $1 for every time I heard somebody say, "What's wrong with people?" What? Well, I can tell you what's wrong with people because I know what's wrong with me.
It's
But if you knew what was wrong with you wouldn't ask that question, what's wrong with people?
yes.
So anyway, that's what wisdom does is it tears away all the stuff that we think about ourselves, shows us who we really are and shows us who we were designed to be, which is a beautiful, beautiful gift. So
Yes. 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 In my which version? Actually, I changed over to the. Yeah, I think I just went to the King James. Was your verse 21 that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance?
treasuries. Oh, inherit wealth.
Okay, so then I must be, let me see. So I'm in the King James, not the New King James or not the King James American version or whatever. And I just was looking at this, that I cause those that love me to inherit substance, like not just riches, not just wealth, but like substance of being, substance of a person, and I think we all want to make impact. And so it's, how do I lean into wisdom so that I may make the impact that I'm created to make? That may not look the way I think it should look,
Right.
but wisdom tells me I was made, and you've said this, on purpose for a purpose, and the world needs me. And so wisdom like underpins that promise, right? And it builds us, and as it says, it causes us to inherit the substance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gives us more of an appetite for wisdom
Absolutely.
as opposed to substance that can
Yes.
be burned up.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, it's so good.
So this week we talked about like how amazing wisdom is and what it can give for you. But next week, these next 7 verses, we're going to be talking about the origin of wisdom.
When there were no depths.
Yeah.
So next week when you tune in, you can join us for Proverbs 8, 22 through 29.
Through 28.
Or 28. Is it 28?
Yeah.
2, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Thanks. Yes. So 22 through 28. I don't know what's happening around me.
Happening in my life. All right. Yeah. So join us in the verse a day, right? I
Yeah.
mean, read 22 tomorrow and then each subsequent verse up until 28 until next Friday. Read along with us and be prepared for an engaging conversation. And of course, submit your comments and questions. We will be happy to answer those. And if I need to do a better job, I need to go back and look and see if we have any questions from the past.
I'm in there now, and I didn't see any comments
Okay.
yet, but we are up to 8 subscribers.
Nice. Score.
So share with your friends.
Yeah.
You never know we're talking about wisdom. You just never know where we're gonna take the conversation. You never know when Zoom is gonna work for us.
Right. And listen, here we are not worried about the outcome here. We're
No.
just having conversations about what we are learning about God's wisdom, and the outcome is up to him. So 8 subscribers is not our pursuit. Our appetite is not for subscribers. Our appetite is to just reach people to have a personal pursuit of wisdom for themselves.
Yes. To have a personal appetite.
Yep. All right. All right, friends. We'll see you.
We'll see you.
Erin is off of her rocker today.
I'm
See
off
you
my
next
rocker
Friday
today.
on the Proverbial Masterminds. Bye, friends.